going, everybody? This is Taff for another Taff's Word. This is following our home game against Mansfield that just went on Saturday. A game in which last season and the season before we'd have lost that game because we'd have been 8 bullied, 8 cheated and all that. And all it would have been is feeling sorry for ourselves because the ref let us down. Well, I'm not saying the ref didn't let us down. It was Charles Breakspear at the end of the day. He always lets us down. Both Luton games, 2 penalties. One, the one at home probably was, I suppose, but the one away definitely wasn't. And I thought there was an opportunity for him to correct what he did the last time. But he didn't take it, and now he came to us with an opportunity to correct. I'm not saying he should give us decisions because he's given us bad decisions before. Actually, that's kind of what I was saying. He let Luton benefit from a penalty, and they should never have had it. He let them benefit from a penalty again, which they maybe deserved. But Saturday, he let them get away with so much. We consider the penalties he gave against us. What he let them get away with was freaking criminal, Pretty much every single time we threw the ball into the box or kicked the ball into the box, there was a pull of one of our players' shirts. Every time, we could see it, every time. And they were pulling players down, stopping them from getting the ball, and he was just letting it go. And his linesman was just as bad as well. It was an awful refereeing display. I mean, some things he didn't let them get away with, which, you can say fair enough, but, he's just listening to Steve Evans and his big frigging mouth on the side. And he just had no intention of reffing that game consistently, is the word I'm looking for. You got to wonder. Someone posed the questions, what the hell do these refereeing assessors actually do? They turn into the game, so they just go for a beer with them afterwards and just say, oh yeah, you were shit in that game, but don't worry, you'll have another League 2 game next week. What they should be doing is, you were crap in that game, sorry, but you're refereeing Connie North or Connie South next time until you sort yourself out. Because your referees are getting away with murder at the moment, to be honest with you, because they are absolutely dire. Every single week, there's at least 2 or 3 games in which sometimes it's both teams, usually just the one, at least 2 or 3 games where the referee has been appalling. Now, a lot of fans can be biased, but some of these people do post videos of penalties given, penalties not given, red cards given, and you look at it and you think, that's shambolic. I mean, how have you got a job as a referee, honestly? You just obviously don't know the rules of this of this game of football. But enough about the referee. I thought we were pretty poor in the first half. We gave such a cheap goal away, like Colchester. I mean, that's the one thing where we're failing at the moment. We got a good defence, but they switch off that split second and we always get punished. Always. And then at the other end of the pitch, we're just not taking chances. I mean, we didn't really have many chances in the first half. It was a bit of a drab game. Conditions were bad, but we came in the second half and we showed exactly what we are. And exactly why I think if we can maintain it and keep pushing that way and not allow ourselves to fall into the sort of substandard performance we had in the first half, then I can't see any reason why we cannot finish in that playoff position. Absolutely. I mean, Newbley, when he's on that right now, this is something that gets debated all the time, and it's something I bring up pretty much every time I do one of these, is whether you should be playing in the centre or in the wing. Now, when he's in the centre, sometimes I forget that he's on the pitch. When he's on the wing, you think, come on, Newbley, you can do something here, because you genuinely believe he's going to. He gets the ball at his feet, and you think, he's going to skin him now, and he skins him. Sometimes he gets doubled up on, and he skins the 2 of them, and he outpowers them, and makes chances. He made a chance for Labardi in the Colchester game early on, and if Labardi had taken it, it would have been 1-0, and we probably would have gone on to win that game. Nothing against Labardi. Labardi's our best player in my opinion. He's my favourite county player. He's a great captain, and we're a much lesser side without him. But yesterday we played phenomenally in that second half. They weren't even in it for that second half, and Steve Evans he's just a bitter, twisted, fat twat. Sorry for the word, but that's exactly what he is. What a horrible bench they had. Just shouting and moaning. I mean, if they got a dodgy decision, hands in the pocket, oh well. As soon as the slightest little doubt, if there was the slightest little bit of doubt on a decision given against them, you should have seen it, arms up in the air, shouting at the fourth official. And you could just see Flinny laughing at them, and it was great. And obviously, we gave them hell in the end, and I enjoyed every second of it. But like I say, I mean, it's a game we probably should have won. It's a game that usually we get bullied and cheated out of any points, in past seasons. But I like that we got that bit more toughness to us, a bit more of a backbone than what we've had in the last couple of seasons, and that's one of the main differences. I mean, we got the expression to play good football. We got a good pitch to play on at home, which helps, and we got a manager that picks a good team every week and believes in them and lets them go out knowing that he believes in them. And to tell you something now, man management and making the players believe in themselves, that's a big, big part of being a football manager. Now, football managers come to it with a lot of different approaches. You tend to find that the one that Flinny does is often the one that works. I mean, you haven't got to be, technically gifted, but with being a football tactical oracle. You don't need to be that anymore. I mean, tactics help get points. I mean, like Rafa Benitez, for example, is a great tactician, always renowned for getting points when he needs points. But at the end of the day, it's not always going to work. Sometimes you're going to come unstuck. You're going to set your stall, one player makes a mistake, and your game plan is down the chute, and then you're left with no plan B. The way Flinny goes, he's always open to being in a position when he can change the game. I mean, sometimes we'll lose a couple of games like Colchester, like Morecambe, like Luton. We'll lose the game because we just have an off day, or like with Luton, they got such an attacking force that we just get overwhelmed. But we still fought back in that game. We fought back against Morecambe, and we were unlucky to end up getting that second goal scored because it was a deflection. There's a lot of factors that can make a difference in a football game. I mean, like one lapse in concentration cost us the game against Colt. The second goal was just a freak goal. Mansfield, one lapse in concentration, or we could have won that game. But I think being the goal down is what drove the team on to do as well as they did in the second half. We ended up getting the equaliser. Mikulski, again, we made a similar debate on Mikulski on whether he should start. I think he should definitely start. I put on Facebook that I think the team that finished the last game is the team that should start the next game. Because I thought that team that went off, if they'd have had 5 more minutes, they'd have won it. I genuinely believe that. Anyway, that's that about the game. What's going on in the world of Newport County right now? Well, we know we've got elections on the horizon, and more and more names are coming forward of people that are potentially going to be going for it. One of those people is the main guy in the business that's sponsoring this Taff's Word, Kevin Ward. Kevin Ward, top guy, got a lot of time for him. He's associated well with Newport Live, who've been great for County in recent years. Ex-editor of the Argus, always had good words to say about this. Obviously, bad words when things go bad, of course, same as everybody. But Kevin would be an absolute. What's the word I'm looking for? Don't you just hate it when you're trying to think of a word? Asset. That's the one. Asset. An absolute asset to the club if he was on the board of directors. So I'm going to say it right now. He's got my vote, and I hope he gets many other votes. And yeah, a lot of love for him for sponsoring the channel. That's not the reason why I want him on the board. The reason I want him on the board is because he's exactly the kind of person that we need. Not afraid to speak his mind when things ain't good, and got the contacts, the resource behind him to do great things for the club. And when I say resource, I don't mean putting money into the club. Fans owned, that's not the point of fans owned. Fans owned is self-sustainability. But Kevin Ward's got the contacts within Newport Live, can help work things out so the players have got gyms, swimming pools, and everything else that they need, to keep themselves fit. Newport Live pretty much owned Spitty. So, I mean, not just for his connections with Newport Live, but for what he's got up there. He knows his stuff, and like I say, he'd be an absolute asset on the board of directors. So I'm going to urge everybody who's watching this to give Kevy a vote. I mean, I know there's a lot of other people who are going for it. I know Rob Santos is going for it. Togsy's going for it. Mark Henson's going for it. Yeah, I'd say having people from the small council, especially with fundraising, have had fantastic success in making money for the junior academy. Now, if they were in a position, and having some of them people on the board, if they're in a position where they can take that fundraising that they did with the small council and take it up a notch with the platform of Newport County and football and the Football League club behind you, who knows what kind of funds they can raise. You know, if they're making thousands for the junior academy through the small council, they could possibly make tens of thousands for the club through the supporters trust. And that's the way I'm going to look at it there. So I do hope a couple of the guys from the small council do make it onto the board. Yeah, basically. The thing is, the board, I'm sure there's 5 positions. We'll get 5 votes. I don't know exactly how many people are going for it. I hope there's a good 10 to 15 people going for it, so there's plenty of choice. Because the last thing we want is people to just walk on, because when you're in a position where people are walking on, you're left in a position where the people who walk on aren't quite right for it. Now, these guys are going to have an opportunity to present a manifesto and outline their intentions if they were to be elected. Now, obviously, the more you've got to choose from, the more you think he seems right. Because the last time there were 8 positions and 9 applicants, and then you just had to choose which one you thought was the weakest. And even though you might have thought 4 or 5 were too weak to get onto that board, you had to choose the one out of that 4 or 5, and you're left with 3 or 4 who aren't quite right for it. Not saying that that is the case, but that's just a sort of a theoretical scenario. That's why I hope that there's a better choice. And obviously this election is just to fill positions, because a lot of people say, well, why aren't all the ones on the board being put up for election? Because they were elected for a 3-year term. Now, the only reason they're calling another election is because they're now short-handed and they need more people to help. So that's why they call the election, to create additional positions, not to make their positions up for grabs. That's my basic understanding of the situation for people who are wondering why the current board aren't being elected. In another 2 years, I believe, there's a fresh election, and it could be a complete wipeout at that point. But that's 2 years away at the moment. We're enjoying our season. We're getting success for once. We're at the right end of the table for once, and it just feels great. And under Flinney, we're certainly going places. And now with new board members to bring fresh ideas for the running of the club, people with intentions of mending any sort of broken relationships between the supporters trust and the supporters. It's, at the end of the day, there's good times ahead for County, and strap up and enjoy the ride is what I'll say. So yeah, thanks again for keeping up with these Taff's Word videos. Obviously, as I've said before, I hate the sound of my own voice. I never watch them back, but people obviously enjoy what I do. So as long as there's people out there that enjoy what I do and it brings attention to the Amber Army YouTube channel, I'm going to keep doing them. So thank you very much again for the kind words I have been receiving. You know, it does, you know, if when you stood out in the rain doing halftime draw, pissed wet through because, you know, you got no umbrella, or, you know, you haven't got a shelter to stand. Well, you've got a shelter to stand under. It means standing right out of the way and missing people walking through, and I won't even sell half as many tickets as I do. I'd rather sell all my tickets like I sold out again on the weekend. I'd rather sell all 300 of my tickets and get wet than sell 100 tickets and stay dry. It's basically as simple as that. So yeah, when you are wet and you're feeling peed off, when someone comes up to you, oh, I enjoy watching your blogs. Oh, thanks, mate. You know, that means a lot. And you hear that a couple of times, and then you think, yeah, I'm looking forward to recording my next one, but I'm not going to watch it still. Anyway, thanks again, guys, and until the next time, cheerio for now. And for those of you going to Notts County, I'll see you up there. Thank you very much. Up the county.